What's up, y'all? You know what time it is? It's about to be that time.
Damn, son, where'd you find this?
Do you believe? Oh, please, please believe. If you believe, wherever you are, clap your hands and she'll hear you. Clap! Clap! Don't let Tink die! Clap!
Savage.
And we're back. Happy New Year, everybody. Welcome to 2024. Chapter 1103 is officially out, and there's a lot of ideas that I'd like to get into today, including how Oda is looping Peter Pan back into the story. What can Bonney really do? Plus all of the callbacks in this chapter and more. First, a couple of channel updates. I know there are some people that are confused. We are still going to be doing videos like this. I am just creating separate VODs for the reactions. I'm going to be reading the chapters on my own and then uploading it as a VOD. We tested it with a live chat as a premiere. That seemed to go well. We'll probably continue doing that. Discussion streams are still on Sundays about the chapter, but I'm coming into the stream having already read the chapter so that we can get right into the discussion. And then we'll still have videos and theories. Nothing changes there, just the separation of the streams. Let's get into everything 1103 and what we can expect going forward, hopefully. But first, like, comment, subscribe if you're feeling the vibe. Kuma has touched down. This is the moment that we've all been waiting for. And if you weren't waiting for it, you realized that you were waiting for it when you saw it. He is ready to box with Saturn. I love this. We've got some parallels going on here. The punch, it is giving Charlos and Luffy in the archipelago, right? And we know that Kuma was watching that. So is that what we're getting here? We all wanted, or at least I did, I wanted Luffy to punch Saturn in the same way that he punched Charlos, but then Saturn gets back up because he's not a chump like Charlos. Oda's flipping that. He's like, no, I'm going to have Kuma punch this guy like Luffy punched Charlos because Luffy is this dude's hero, which is crazy in itself. We also get an image parallel to Akainu killing Ace, turning him into a donut, RIP. That shot of Saturn behind Kuma while he is holding Bonney has the exact same framing model, pretty much, of Ace getting turned into a donut. And I think that that's on purpose. I've been expecting Kuma to die this entire arc. Will Kuma be the Ace of the arc, or will he be the Whitebeard? And if he is the Whitebeard, is there an Ace that we're also going to lose this arc? Do there need to be two deaths? And Saturn doesn't count. I don't know, I'm still team Kuma's gotta die, even though I don't want it. This guy's top 5 now. He was always at the top of the top 10, you know, just probably my 6th favorite character, but he's top 5 now. Chapter 1071 was the first chapter of 2023, and it had Kuma flying through the air. The first chapter of 2024 has him reaching his destination. The destination he was always aiming for, which was Egghead. Marijoa was just a pit stop. This man is here. Does he have agency? These are the questions that I want to know. And taking into account the little bit of math piece there, 1072, the second chapter of 2023, is what gave us the first iteration of Distorted Future, and 2, the 21 Grams of the Soul flashback. So with that being said, will we learn whether or not Vegapunk actually put a failsafe or a neural switch in Kuma in the next chapter that would tie back to the 21 Grams of the Soul flashback, that there is something still there, innate, something that you can't break, the fatherly spirit. Could we get a little more lore on how Distorted Future works? Saturn gave us an explanation in this chapter, which is really interesting and has my mind spinning at the possibilities of what Bonney can actually do. She's growing her body and giving it an almost rubbery feel, which we've talked about before may just be her, moving her mass around. But it almost looks like she's about to hit Saturn with a King Kong gun, which is funny, but it's actually just the ripples of her costume. But it really does look like that. It's not the case. But more than that, what other possibilities could she tap into? The most interesting thing about what Saturn is saying in regards to specifically Bonney's power implies that she will never be as strong as she is right now, because this is when her imagination is at its peak. As she gets older, it's going to narrow and it's going to focus. Much like us in the real world. When we're 12, the whole world is our oyster. We could go in any direction we want should we choose. Eventually, we start getting 17, 18, 19. It's either college, trade school, we're going to work, and now we're filed into a box. Maybe that box is big, maybe that box is small, but either way, the amount of futures dwindle as you get older. Now, does that mean that she could be like Taskmaster from Marvel, where not only could she tap into a Nika-like future, could she tap into, hypothetically, a Zoro-like future, pick up 3 swords, and suddenly she knows Santoryu? Like, how broken can Bonney get? A Sniper King future, she picks up a slingshot and suddenly she hits her mark perfectly. Now, that doesn't mean that she could pick up a slingshot and hit at any time, but if she shouts Sniper King-like future or something and thinks about it, then maybe she would get that skill. Sanji-like future, does she suddenly become a cook? Is she able to kick a boulder into a million pieces? What can she do? What other futures can she tap into? Because theoretically, at 12 years old, say she wanted to learn Santoryu, right? Technically, she's got plenty of years in that potential future, this limitless future that she has here, where she could learn that. So she's just kind of jumping into the butterfly effect, and then suddenly she's opened this portal, like as if it's everything everywhere all at once, and now it's the timeline where she trained in swords and she's using Santoryu. And she's just able to tap into that. That's actually maybe even more apt than the Taskmaster comparison. I think her fruit is everything, everywhere, all at once, guys. I think an underrated line in this chapter, and probably the most important line in this chapter, came from Saturn. This is why it's important to read the official. But Saturn says to Bonney about her wavering faith in Nika, quote, "And your current weakness is evidence that you've begun to think he's not real." Does this mean that if you believe in Nika, you suddenly become stronger? Is that why the Gorosei and the world government is so afraid of Nika, that they're so afraid of this fruit? Why they've been hunting it down for 800 years? Because it has this ability to inspire and make those around them stronger. I think Oda gave us something very huge with that. And I think this also ties back to Oda's love for Peter Pan. Going back to Alabasta, right? You have Crocodile. What does he have? He has a hook for a hand. His master plan was a ticking time bomb. Captain Hook has a hook for a hand, and he is chased by a crocodile that has eaten a clock. Ticking, ticking, ticking. Thriller Bark was all about Peter Pan. The shadows, everything, losing your shadow, following your shadow. So many Peter Pan references. And this feels like the Tinkerbell reference. The "you've got to believe in fairies" reference. Clap if you believe. Luffy is now the Tinkerbell in this story, and the food that he's been given is the claps. We believe, Luffy, get back up.
She's getting better. Clap! Clap! She's getting stronger! Oh, she's all well now! Oh, thank you! Thank you! Thank you!
Who gave him the food? The internet thinks it's Kizaru. I don't know. Could it be Caribou? Is Luffy eating some swamp meat again? We don't know. There are implications that it's Kizaru, but that's just me thinking out loud that I don't want Kizaru to be a good guy. I really want more bad guys at the end, but it does seem like Oda is going down this route where he's going to have Kizaru turn, and nothing more evident than Kizaru doing the Nika dance. So going back to this idea of who else is going to die this arc, if Kizaru turns, I kind of think he's going to die, guys. So is he going to be one of the big sacrifices of this arc? Like, how crazy would that be? That the person who truly decimated the Straw Hats pre-time skip ends up being one of their greatest saviors and taking, the mantle of what Kuma started in the archipelago. It's actually really poetic, but only if he dies. Like, I don't want to carry him further into the story, but if he dies, it would make Kizaru one of the greatest characters in the series, bar none. And that's interesting. And then, do we get another admiral? Because, I'm putting stocks on Mamanga. Does he get a devil fruit? I don't know, but I need Admiral Mamanga ASAP. I'm excited for the possibility of a Luffy and Kuma team up against Saturn. Still really want the Dawn axe or Bajrang axe coming down on the spider, man. Ooh. But going back to Saturn weakening Bonney, how does Saturn's power work? At first I was like, is there some sort of a comparison to Blackbeard's fruit and the way that he's able to nullify powers by touch? But the thing here is that Saturn is actually physically touching Bonney, and she's still able to tap into Nika-like future. But whatever it is preventing Sanji, Atlas, Frankie, and everybody else from being able to move in his presence. But Kuma is able to move. So what's the difference there? Is it the cybernetic parts? Is it the fact that Saturn wasn't actually expecting Kuma to even be there, but he can see everybody else? Is Kuma just catching him off guard? What are the parameters here? Oda, please, we need some explanations. We got the confirmation that Saturn experimented on Bonney. People thought maybe she had eaten the fruit while she was at Marijoa as a baby. That's the truth, technically. She was given extract. It's kind of like when Ace got his fruit, which we got through the light novels. He was on Sixtus Island with his right hand Deuce. Ace took a bite of the fruit first. Deuce took a bite of it second. They were both starving. Only Ace got the power. So the fruit was nullified the moment someone had taken any of its juice. So Saturn, and we were talking about this in one of the streams, maybe it was the Theory for Theory with Jay, we needed to see Saturn be a man of science. He's talking this big game against Vegapunk, hey, I'm a man of science too, right? Well, now we know. Saturn's biggest science feat is that he got up out of his chair, he walked over to a blender and turned it on. He pressed that button and he said, "Man, I am a man of science." Woo! The more I think about it, the less impressive it is. Now, the sapphire scales, that's impressive, even though it's heartbreaking. And the fact that it was able to pass through lineage as well is even more heartbreaking. But is that science? Or is that just the fact that he is an Ushi Oni, and Ushi Onis are able to give incurable diseases to people? That's the possibility as well. And if that's the case, then Saturn's big feat is using a blender. Breaking news. Old man gets out of chair. Presses button. I'm really happy that Oda dedicated almost 3 pages to Vegapunk and Bonney hashing it out. A lot of 2023 was Bonney just reiterating how much she wanted to kill Vegapunk, how much she hated him and everything. And here, now we're starting 2024 and we're getting that cathartic apology. She now knows that Vegapunk is a great man that really was trying to help her father. There's catharsis there. Vegapunk is able to give Bonney this necklace Kuma wanted her to have. Weirdly enough, it has a sapphire. I feel like that would be a little bit of a taboo. Like, I don't know. I wouldn't give her a sapphire personally, but hey, It's in the shape of the sun, taking it back, you're reclaiming it, changing what it means. Okay, all right, I'll give you that. I'm with it. Is this a Chekhov's gun, though? Now, given that Vegapunk doesn't really know much about what he is giving Bonney in the first place, maybe not, but it would be really cool if it was more than just a cool trinket, and it was something that later was able to help Bonney, save her, be the key to something later on. Who knows? But it's one of those things that would be really great if everybody just forgets about it and then it comes back later on and it's like, oh, look at that. It meant something. But it probably doesn't mean anything. The 8th wife stuff is crazy. So somebody out there has 8 concubines, and it doesn't seem like it's Saturn, but it still could be. It could be one of those things where he's saying, when he's saying the word fellow, he's kind of doing the, well, my friend. He's trying to keep it close to the vest. There's 2 ways that it can go, and both of them are interesting. If Saturn is Bonney's dad, then we wrap this up in a nice bow. If Kuma's, the one to really get his revenge here, that's great. The other way is we drag it along. We get to Marijoa. If Bonnie's with us, if she's not, it doesn't matter. We meet somebody else. Is it Garling? Is it Roswald? Is it Jalmak? Is it some rando? One of the other God's Knights? Who knows? But they are Bonnie's father. And that can bring further drama down the line. Oda is more inclined to use that option. We'll go with that. But I do like the neatness of it being Saturn. What is Dragon's plan? Oda, I'm asking you. What is your plan with Dragon? What are you doing? Why is this man not on his way to Egghead? Now, I know that geographically, he is in the Grand Line in Kamabaka. And it takes time. It took Kuma an entire year to fly in the air to get to Egghead. But what is the Revolutionary Army doing? Please, come on. And that's going to wrap things up, guys. First chapter of 2024 in the can. Thank you for spending time with me today. Thank you, everybody that supports the channel, all of the members. Much love to you all. And I'm very excited to read, celebrate, and talk 1104 with you. Like, comment, subscribe. If you're feeling the vibe.
I've been swimming deep, deep. Savage.